You ever watched a movie when you was younger, and the movie, it was like interesting, but you couldn't really process everything the way that you probably could have or would have if you was older. Then you got older and you watched the movie again and you realized, damn, this shit deep. Matter of fact, let me show y'all what I'm talking about and tell me if this shit don't still apply to today. Yeah.
There we go.
Is that thing back on me again? If the entire Secret Service couldn't protect the President of the United States, how in the hell are we supposed to protect a few niggers? I'm telling you again, it ain't nothing but a bunch of low-life white trash drinking too much cheap alcohol. More like paint thinner than snake juice, because this state's as dry as a martini, and we got the alcoholics to prove it.
Excuse me. Can you give me a little room here? Excuse me. Excuse me, Bobby. Is this okay?
Your name, please?
Clayton Townley, local businessman.
Are you, sir, a spokesman for the White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan?
I told you, I'm a businessman. I'm also a Mississippian and an American. And I am getting sick and tired of the way many of us Mississippians are having our views distorted by you newspaper people and on the TV. So let's get this straight. We do not accept Jews because they reject Christ. And their control of the international banking cartels are at the root of what we call communism today. We do not accept papists because they bow to a Roman dictator. We do not accept Turks, Mongols, Tartars, Orientals, nor Negroes because we're here to protect Anglo-Saxon democracy and the American way.
Thank you, sir.
Now, the reason you cannot win, as I said, is that you've been locked into this low level of a real-life monopoly game. You do not own and control enough of wealth. See, in 1860, for instance, black folk, as a direct result of slavery, had an ownership. When you were 98% slaves, you had an ownership of 1/2 of 1% of this nation's wealth in 1860 on the eve of the Civil War. Now, this is the richest country in the world, the most capitalistic country in the world. And here you are 140 years after slavery when you're supposedly 100% free and you still only have 1/2 of 1% of this nation's wealth. You cannot compete. The typical average white person in America has 3,500 times more money than you have. And that's not true only of blacks in America, it's true of the world internationally. What's happening right now is blacks is a marginalized, subordinated class of people all over the earth. You have 1/2 of 1% of the wealth in this nation. The same thing is true all over the world. In the world, there's approximately $392 trillion worth of wealth on the earth. And black folk around in the world have less than 1% ownership of it. That includes all the African countries. That includes Brazil, Caribbean, and America. You don't own enough control of anything. Whites control almost 100% of all the wealth, power, resources, privileges, and controls of all levels of government. You're playing a game you can't win. You got to get reparations. Now, how are you going to get it? Let me run through 3 or 4 things very quickly because I don't want to take up the time here. First thing you must do, I've heard it mentioned already, we got to commit a national campaign all over this country to start publicizing the issue of reparations for black folk. Not as something nice, but as a necessity, period. That means every living soul, every